Good afternoon, YouTube world. Thank you for stopping by my channel. We Focus. My name is Darius Thompson, a creator. And as you've seen from the title, let's just get right into it. Why your mental health is important. On Friday, July the 15th, I had a mental breakdown. And let me give you some context as to how that happened. I've been in business for the last 7 years. We do after hours commercial cleaning. And for the last 24 months, business has been growing at a pace faster than it has in the first 5 years that I've been in business. And what would typically happen on, any given day, I would get a call from a customer. Say, hey, we're really interested in your services. We'd like someone to come by and do a walkthrough. We're looking for 2 days a week or 3 days a week cleaning. And I would say, okay, I have availability to come by next week at a certain time. So I would come by, do the walkthrough, provide the customer with the proposal, the estimate. They would either say yes or no. And that would be another contract added to the contracts that I already have. That's essentially the way the business works. But what I was doing that I didn't know was wrong at the time, but I do now. Anytime I would receive a call from a customer about cleaning 1 day a week, 2 days a week, 5 days a week, whatever the frequency is, I would look at my existing contracts in a 7-day period, Monday through Sunday, and ask myself, how can I fit that contract into the existing contracts that I have? Meaning, if it's on a Wednesday and a Friday, how many cleans do I have on a Wednesday? How many cleans do I have on Friday currently? Can I move some of those Friday cleans to Saturday? Can I move some of the things that I'm doing on Saturday to Sunday to make room for this new contract? I never considered myself, me, Darius Thompson, my time. I didn't see a difference. The company's time was my time and vice versa. So within that 7 days, there was no time designated for me. Or worse, this is what I would tell myself, that I may be cleaning every day this week. I may have 3 cleans every night, Monday through Sunday. I would tell myself, well, I'm off in the morning. I'm off in the afternoon. Like if someone were to ask me, when are you off next? I'm off now. Not how we typically ask in days, like what day are you off? I relegated my off time to hours within a day, not a complete 24 hours. I never looked at it that way. Now that Thursday evening, I didn't sleep very well at all. So I woke up that Friday the 15th, already behind the 8 ball essentially. I didn't feel well because I didn't sleep well. I had to clean that Friday morning and I had 3 cleans that Friday evening. Again, I woke up from a restless, uncomfortable sleep. I had a vice grip of a headache. By the time I woke up to the time I laid down, Advil, Motrin, Aleve, nothing helped. So I finished my clean in the morning, came home, had a few things to do in between. I laid still. I wasn't able to sleep, but I laid still anyway, just to try and rest my mind and my body. And the headache subsided momentarily, but it didn't last. So packed up my things together, left for my evening cleans. And one of my team members actually called me, and he wasn't feeling well. had some chest issues, and he didn't feel very comfortable with the situation, and he thought the best course of action would be for him to go to the hospital, and I agreed. So now there's another hour and a half of his work that I needed to finish on top of the work that I already had. So about 10:30, quarter to 11 that evening, I just wanted to quit. I was so fatigued, like just an overwhelming body fatigue had came over me at about 7 p.m. that evening. So this is 3 hours, almost 4 hours later that I'm dealing with this. Again, with the ongoing vice grip of a headache that I already had, I just wanted to quit. And I've never felt like that before in my life. Definitely haven't felt like that in the last 7 years that I've been in business, but I literally would have left everything where it was, turned off the lights, locked the door, and went home. I'd already planned it out in my mind as I just stood there in this in-between state, essentially. And I was ready for the fallout, whatever would have occurred. And I would imagine it would have went something like this. I would have came home, eventually drifted away to sleep, woken up that Saturday morning. If I didn't feel like getting out of the bed at that time, I would have rolled back over and went right to sleep. So when I finally wake up and actually go to my phone, I'm certain it would have been text messages, missed calls, voicemails, and the like. Probably, I'm certain, from the customer first thing in the morning. And I was ready to call that person back. Like, hey, good afternoon. This is Darius Thompson. How can I help you? George, John, whomever called me and left a voicemail. And they would have said something to the effect like, hey, we saw that, you didn't finish with the clean last night. What's going on? And I quit. And there would have been some awkward silence, I'm sure. And they'd be like, what do you mean? Like, no, I'm not coming back, other than to collect the things that belong to me. That's how far I allowed it to get. The problem was that I did not separate myself from my business. We were the same. When the business moved, I moved. What the business required, I gave. And I had no idea for the last 24 months. I was essentially speeding into a brick wall. I had no idea. I was just, again, and I didn't say yes to every potential contract. I did say no. But when I looked at any given calendar week, I didn't see myself in that week. Meaning, what day, how many days of this week are designated just for me, whatever I choose to do. If I don't want to do anything in that entire day but sit on the couch and read, take nap, whatever, it was my time. There was none in any month, other than looking at a holiday coming up, knowing that most of my customers are going to be closed. That was the designated off day that I gave myself, because the business was more important. And that's something that we all have to realize, whether you are an entrepreneur, an employee, a spouse, significant other. You cannot give more of yourself to something or lose yourself in what it is that you do, because you are speeding into a brick wall. You are headed towards a dead end. And I didn't realize that. Because for me to honestly say I quit to myself out loud and feel good about that in that moment and willing to accept whatever the fallout is, I've gone too far. And for those of you that are employees who feel like what you do is so important and so valuable, you have to give all of who you are to this job, or you cannot see a distinction between you and the job. You are wrong. You are very wrong. Because if that company, that institution, that organization, if it's going to fall apart because you have not been there in 1 day or 2 days or a week, that organization has a lot of problems that you shouldn't be able to fix, and you shouldn't think that you can fix all on your own. You've blurred the lines between you and what you do. There should be a clear line in the sand for us all. This is who I am. This is what I do on the other side. This is who I am. This is who I am with. Should be on the other side. And fortunately for me, I simply just wanted to quit. I didn't become angry or violent. I didn't have any malice or horrific intent. I was just simply ready to walk away. Was even going to turn off the lights and lock the door. And I knew I wasn't coming back other than to get what belonged to me and then move on. My path was clear at that point. But I should have never made it to that point. I sacrificed my mental health for what it is that I do for a living. My business is my financial livelihood. It should not be what defines who I am. Neither should what you do define who you are, or who you are with define who you are. And I believe that's how so many people end up in situations to where they have lost all control. And they may turn violent. We've heard the stories. And I don't need to get into any particular situations. But these people have become so lost in what it is that they do, and it's built up and created so much animosity and anxiety and anger that they just lash out. They are mentally broken at that point. And that's where I was. But fortunately for me, there was an action plan in place, and I didn't even know it. But now that I'm aware of that action plan and it is in place, things are improving for me for the better. I expect initial change will occur for me August the 1st, and my plan will be complete September the 1st. So for me, every calendar week of every month, of every year, as long as I am in business, I will be able to look at any given week and see that at least those 2 days of this week are designated for Darius and whatever Darius wants to do. Whatever I deem important, what it is for me. It is not related to my business in any way. I'm not going to trade myself anymore for what it is that I do. And that's the point that I ultimately want to make for us all. You watching this now, if you haven't experienced a mental breakdown of any kind, I'm very thankful for that. But if you find yourself in any situation, be it work, family, uh, romantic relationships, any situation to where you are losing your own identity, you need to recognize that and you need to put an action plan in place to rediscover who you are. Because if you don't, you are speeding into a dead end and you are going to suffer. I do not know the extent of the fallout. No one does. It is unknown. It's uncharted waters once you mentally break. And it's not worth it. There is no company, there is no business, there is no person, place, or thing that should jeopardize your own mental health and wellness. I found out the hard way. I honestly did. I'm a much better person for it. It was a huge growth for me, mentally, physically, spiritually. I feel like a weight has been lifted off of my shoulders and I have placed it on the ground behind me, and I am moving forward, never to look back at it, because I know what it means. I know what it represents. I know that I will not sacrifice my own personal time for what it is that I do, because it is not who I am. And if you know of someone, a friend, a family member, a colleague that you see that's just that they're going at it the hard way, you need to be that person, or at least try to be that person that can somehow talk some sense into, or give them some nuggets of advice, because they're grinding too hard. There is such a thing. And it's hard for that person to realize it in that moment or leading up to that moment. We just don't see it because we are so attached that we don't see a distinction. It's this symbiotic relationship. We have to tear ourselves away from almost, or some outside force has to separate this almost unbreakable bond that we've created, because the business is a thing. Our job is a thing. It didn't create the relationship. We created the relationship with it. So just be mindful of that. People that you love, admire, respect, care about, if you are close enough to their inner circle and you are witnessing they are heading for a mental breakdown or mental collapse, you got to do your best to try and help that person, aid them, bring them back to a reality of self in any way that you can. Thank you all for watching. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. I'll continue to do my best to bring you all motivational and inspirational content. And I just want to leave you with this last thought. Your mental health is your responsibility. But we should not be blind and we should not ignore when the people that are closest to us may need our help. Again, thank you for watching. Bye.